Hey, I'm Matthew, and among other things, I'm on my school's speech and debate team. I prefer to do LD debate, but I've only just started, so who knows where I'll go. Anyway, I'd like to present to you the affirmative speech that I presented at this last tournament. The resolution is resolved. The right to be forgotten from internet searches should be a civil right. Gary Kovacs once said, "Privacy is not an option, and it should be the price we accept for just getting on the internet." Because I agree with this statement, I stand resolved that the right to be forgotten from internet searches ought to be a civil right. For the sake of clarification in this debate, I would like to define the following terms. Right to be forgotten from internet searches. As Felix Triguer, researcher at the School for Advanced Studies in the Social Sciences and founding member of La Quadrature du Net, France, put it, the right to be forgotten recognizes the right to the de-indexation of links attached to a person's name in search engines. This means that when a given item is de-indexed by Google in the search results to a query that includes a person's name, it remains accessible through the search engine as long as the search query does not include that name. Civil right, a right afforded to a person by the society or a social contract. Ought means should. My value for this debate is the social contract because individuals consenting to a government authority surrender some of their freedoms and submit to the authority of the ruler or magistrate, in exchange for protection of their remaining rights. My value criteria is human dignity, because a person's dignity on the internet ought to be protected through their incorporation in government. I have three contentions which uphold my value. My first contention is that the right to be forgotten upholds human dignity. My second contention is the strong precautionary principle. My third contention is civil right. First, I would like to provide two observations. The nature of this debate lies in the realm of the removal of irrelevant information. Information which is deemed credible, relevant to an organization or the public, does not lie under the right to be forgotten. 2. Information deemed credible or relevant to the public is not part of the right to be forgotten, because this type of information is accurate and serves governmental organizations, private organizations, employment for corporations, and disputes over legal matters. Condition 1. The right to be forgotten upholds human dignity. Subpoint A. Prevention of inaccurate judgment. Referring to my observation, only information that is irrelevant can be de-indexed from a person's name. The right to information is highly recognized, and information de-indexed that is relevant to the public impedes the access of this information. Therefore, the information would not be allowed to be de-indexed for the sake of the preservation of already existing rights. Furthermore, there are many situations where inaccurate judgments are created online through the presentation of false information. Information that is not true is harmful to the person whose name is connected with such information. To uphold human dignity, this information ought to be allowed to be removed to prevent inaccurate judgment. Subpoint B. Rectifying libel and slander. On the internet, humans are also at risk of being falsely accused of negative practices. There are a plethora of examples where information is presented that slanders or is damaging to a person's reputation. Simply put, wrongly stated facts can lead to such libel information damaging a person's reputation. To rectify libel and slander and uphold human dignity, information ought to be de-indexed from a person's name. Information that is wrong serves no value to the public. It has no accuracy nor weight when it comes to the argument of access to information. If false statements have no worth and therefore are viable for the damaging of a person's reputation. Condition 2. The strong cautionary principle. The strong cautionary principle is an approach to risk regulation that shifts the burden of proof on safety. It can provide a valuable framework for preventing harm to human reputation. Created by John Stuart Mill, it serves to protect a person from faulty information in the hopes of safety for an individual. This principle only applies to situations where human dignity has been violated by a piece of information. A violation of a person's human dignity comes from the presentation of false information. Referring to my first observation, only information that is irrelevant to the public, which includes false information, is up for the de-indexing from a person's name. In the social contract, a government ought to be protected from the ought to protect the safety of individuals, offline and online, because of the negotiation agreed upon by the individual living under the governmental control. Through human dignity, if a government allows faulty information to remain present on the internet, they are not upholding their end of the agreement to keep their citizens safe. Faulty information is harmful to a person's reputation and therefore harmful to their safety. Condition 3. Civil right. By allowing the right to be forgotten to become a civil right, human dignity is preserved online. Seeing as the internet is an expansion of society, it should be treated legally in much the same way as the physical world. People must be protected from slander and have control over the information which is shared about them with the public. Everyone has the fundamental right to both privacy and property. The right to have privacy is in some ways an extension of the right to property. You are the default owner of your person, and no system can justly take that away from you. Whether one can claim the right to, when others can claim the right to control information about you and the public perception of you, they are in effect saying that they have ownership of your person. Without the freedom to be forgotten, we are all powerless to control our lives online. Civil rights are basic human rights, which are afforded by government to all its citizens. If the right to be forgotten should not be a civil right, I don't know what should. It is for these reasons I ask for an AF ballot. I'll post the neg case in a little bit. I hope this was of use to you, and I'm sorry if I stuttered at all. I'm working on that. DFTBA.